Afternoon, Aris here with another video. Two videos in less than a week. It's a Pilton avalanche. Or as the kids say, the grind don't stop. Hit me up on Snapchat. I noticed my Discogs shot up yesterday, and it was because I noticed, this seems unbelievable to me, somebody bought a sealed copy of the Beach Boys Sunflower for 680 quid. So obviously my copy, I don't do conditional, I just use Discogs as login, so suddenly it says that my copy's worth 680 quid. Clearly not, mine's absolutely shot to shit, to be honest. But it made me think, you're in a tricky position with sealed copies, aren't you? Because do you unseal it and then it just becomes worth 30 quid, or maybe a bit more because it's mint, or do you just keep it sealed and then keep passing it on to other people, and then it becomes like cryptocurrency, I suppose. But the other thing about not undoing them is you don't get. I'm a big fan of an insert for a record that kind of time dates or carbon dates the record. So not just a normal insert, but something that really tells you when that record came out. And I went through some of mine. I do find it interesting, and it does sort of tell a story of my record collecting as well. And these are some amazing records as well. The first one, and I'm just showing this because this doesn't really time date the record, but I think you could, in the history of punk, you could argue this is one of the most historical records ever, and it's probably one of my rarest. The Ramones' first album, I would have bought this in about 91, probably for about a fiver, I imagine. What I realised later on, because when I was buying records, and I'm sure some people back me up on this, if you were buying records in the 90s, no one gave a monkeys about serial numbers, catalogue numbers. I didn't know what the dead wax was. When Discogs started again and that, I started looking, and this is good. This is the 9103253. This is the first UK press of the Ramones' first album, which is just a beautiful thing to add. I mean, this would be the edition that the Sex Pistols or Sid Vicious would have learnt bass to, because obviously you can turn a channel down and just get the bass out of this speaker and everything else out of that. So you don't get many first UK Ramones presses in this condition, which is pretty good. As I say, there it is. That's your 903253. Also though, tantalisingly, it comes with a lyric sheet, which is kind of quite unusual, I believe. And I say, tantalisingly on Discogs, it says some copies come with a lyric sheet, so I don't even know. I've got to say, I wouldn't deem the lyric sheet for the Ramones' first album essential. I don't want to walk around with you, I don't want to walk around with you, I don't want to walk around with you, so why you want to walk around with me, I don't want to walk around with you. Thank you. That was an insight there into the mind of Joey Ramone, but what a fucking fantastic record. I was trying to think what my favourite Ramones record is. It's like choosing your favourite M&M, isn't it? They're all essentially the same, but equally brilliant. But funny enough, mine is probably Don't Come Close, which I know is off my least favourite of their early albums, Road to Ruin. But yeah, I do like Don't Come Close. Not on Ramones Mania as well. I've got Ramones Mania on vinyl as well. They're sort of greatest hits, and yeah, it's not on that, which is annoying. But I love Don't Come Close. Next up, maybe let's just go with it. Hypnotised by the Undertones. The second album, again, it's one of those record company conversations I'm fascinated by. All right, lads. Yeah, the first Undertones album's done really well. They could be huge. What could we do to get the second one to sell more? We could get them to write better tunes with catchier choruses. Yes, we could do that. Or we could introduce a lobster stencil. Yes, so there you go. I mean, it's a great album, this. And it comes with a lobster stencil. I don't know how many. In Undertones circles, this edition is known as Lobster Intact. And I believe there's quite a buzz about this version. But yeah, actually, they got the lobsters on here in some lobster restaurant in America. It's a great album, actually. Starts off with more songs about chocolate and girls, which is like the manifesto for the Undertones, isn't it? And I actually think the album after this is even better. But the good thing about the Undertones, you can still pick these up so cheap in the UK. I mean, I know shops where you can still get these 5-7 quid, and you're not going to go far wrong. But yeah, Lobster Intact. I'm willing to take bids. The Undertones, Hypnotised with Lobster. Next one, and this is a proper, what I'm talking about, historical document. The first Mudhoney album came out about November '89, and I was a big fan of Sub Pop from the word go. I've said it in other videos, just because of the UK weeklies, because Everett True was sort of employed by Sub Pop, and he was a big writer for the Melody Maker. So Sub Pop was getting mega coverage in the UK around 88, 89. Hence why I bought Bleach the week of release, and my copy's worth a lot of money now, a serious sum of money. But I can't get my head around the fact that Mudhoney's debut came out after Nirvana's debut. I still can't quite get that in my head. But the great thing about this, well, the first thing I say, what a great album this is. I know I think because it came after Superfuzz, people give it a little bit of a hard time, but I think it's fantastic. This gift, flat out, You Got It is great. I saw Bit Bop Boom playing out on a stream about a month ago. By the way, John, I don't think I'm awake when you play your streams, but I just watched another one the other morning. It was fantastic. Here Comes Sickness, Running Low. The further I go, the further back I back. I absolutely think this is killer. But it came with the insert, Tad and Nirvana, UK tour. Mudhoney, well, Nirvana were supporting Tad. I think I've shown this before. And also the Mudhoney tour in the UK. And I say they were getting big. And I really do remember this Tad and Nirvana tour, because they played Portsmouth Polytechnic, which is just down the road. That was on October the 28th, 1989. And it didn't sell out. I'm pretty sure it didn't sell out, because I remember a couple of my mates turned up on the door, which you could do in the pre-internet age, because not everyone, there wasn't this mad scramble for online tickets. But I think I'm pretty sure, well, I know I didn't go, because I would definitely remember, but I think I went to a Thursday night indie disco at the Raffles, East Street, Southampton. I'm pretty certain. I need to go back and double check that. But yeah, just a great historical document of the time, and great album, that Mudhoney debut as well. I absolutely love it. This is a great one. I've been meaning to show this for ages. And Dead Kennedys, Frankenchrist. Famously, famously, Jello Biafra included the penis poster, which got him in. I won't show it. It might offend people. It shouldn't offend people, by the way. But there was a lawsuit. He could have got banged up. In the end, his record label, Alternative Tentacles, had to pay out a lot of money, but the record label was surprised. The poster, I mean, when you think about the times, this came out in 85. I bought this in our price in 87, so they couldn't have shifted. There must have been some rogue stock kicking about, because, I mean, again, mine's falling apart a little bit, but yeah, so this is actually, in a way, although it's probably seen as the weakest of the first three, this is kind of my favourite, because it's got Super's Good Food, which I love, This Could Be Anywhere, MTV Get Off the Air, and the amazing final track, Stars and Stripes of Corruption. This came out in the height of the Reagan and Thatcher years, didn't it, 85? And when you think what was going on in the world, you know, bombing countries, racially profiling people in your own country, economic cuts which were causing more or less starvation in your own country. Hard to believe that a poster with some penises on was the real problem out here, but apparently it was. But yeah, as much as Jello Biafra can be a prize pillock at time, he really did. He was sort of Orwellian. He kind of did predict a future. I mean, my favourite ever Dead Kennedy song is Moon Over Marin, and if you read that, I mean, environmental issues. You know, did he sort of foresee Omicron? And I don't know, but yeah, I really enjoy this record. Although 3 or 4 of the songs are not the greatest, but yeah, Dead Kennedys, Frankenchrist, and these guys here also sued him about 3 years later. So it was just a bad day at the office for Jello on this one, but yeah, fantastic, and yeah, complete with dodgy poster, or not dodgy, but it goes for a couple of quid this one now as well. Next up, again, not so much a historical document, but Alan the Static Traveller showed this the other day, and this is the Doolittle by the Pixies, which I always remember came out on the Monday after the Hillsborough disaster. I don't know why I always remember that, but I remember going to HMV. We were all a bit down and all slightly horrified, because we're all big football fans. And this one comes out. This one came with the 4AD booklet. Oliver Vaughan, sadly passed away. Oliver Vaughan. But yeah, I bought this. I was always a little bit disappointed with this, actually, because I'd loved Surfer Rosa. Blew my mind when it came out, and the production on this I felt was a little bit flatter, but actually it is a great album, isn't it? And Side 2 particularly, I really enjoy Side 2. Number 13 Baby as well. It's a great track. But yeah, it comes with the Oliver Vaughan insert, and great album. Next up, I think I've shown this before. Public Enemy, Fear of a Black Planet. I mean, yeah, I mean, race issues in America were going berserk. I mean, when this came out I think this came out in February '90. I remember buying this, and so we're a year and a half away from Rodney King, and it comes with the insert, Public Enemy, Fight the Power, get it on video. I mean, Fight the Power is never my favourite Public Enemy song, but actually the video is phenomenal, and the video is a fantastic time capsule of the time in America. And around the time Do the Right Thing came out as well, Spike Lee's video, and say, well, racial politics are probably as heavy in England and America as they ever have been, but yeah, they were certainly all kicking off around this time. But yeah, you can get the Fight the Power video if you want it. I don't know what that consisted of. Did it just consist of the video and that's it? Probably cost about $13.99. But Fear of a Black Panic, great. Side 1, superb. Should have been on 2 bits of vinyl, by the way. Too long. Finally, one thing I absolutely loved, and the American record labels were fantastic at this. The American indies were way better than the English indies. They put in music to one side, whether you like the music or not. They really did. They were like proper indie. They were proper indies. They would fund themselves, a lot of them, and they would put these catalogues of whatever they were bringing out at the time, and they were great sort of snapshot of where you were at the time. And SST, who is probably one of my favourite record labels ever, if not my favourite record label ever, were brilliant at this. They put out these fantastic catalogues. So this is Double Nickels of the Dime, which I think I bought in Tower Records. This is a pretty desirable record now. Curate's Edinburgh record. You're either going to like it or not, but hard to find a copy of Double Nickels now. I managed to knacker my copy with an exploding stress toy incident. That's the truth. I'm not even going to go into that story, but that exploding stress toy shaved about 30 grand off the price of my record collection back in 1991. But yeah, this is a beautiful copy. Double Nickels, sounds fantastic, and it comes with a fantastic SST Catalogue, which I used to love these. Not many of these have survived actually, but they used to do a little. They had a great knack of making some of the worst sounding records ever sound fantastic. Songs like bands like Tom Trockley's Dog and DC3. You'd read the description and you think this is going to be the greatest thing ever. But the interesting thing about this one is it also mentions upcoming tracks, and it mentions the Minutemen. I'm just trying to think what that record was called. Three-way Tie for Last. Now, D. Boon had died at the time, but there's no mention of D. Boon dying. Now, he must have died by the time they wrote this spiel. It just says, the release features the last recordings of San Pedro's finest. The Minutemen were still deciding what to put out on this record, so stay tuned. No mention of D. Boon dying, which seems slightly heartless, but maybe that was the SST way. But yeah, these catalogues were utterly fantastic. Along with, and this is another example, Flipper's Gone Fishing. Flipper were like the kind of the US equivalent of Public Image Limited, but this is on Subterranean Records, and again, it's a kind of a where we are at the moment with our record label, and yeah, a great description of Gone Fishing on here. Their second album made even more intense and mind-bending than the first by understatement, and sounds like forklifts colliding underwater. Forklifts colliding underwater is a pretty decent description of Flipper's Gone Fishing. It's not the easiest record, but yeah, fantastic. I remember I used to play this all the time as a nipper, and yeah, and you can cut out the sleeve and make a little and you can cut out and a little sort of diorama, and you could send away for another sleeve if you wanted as well, so you could replace it. But yeah, fantastic. I love all these sort of booklets that sort of carbon date the records. Anyway, that's my sort of favourite inserts, and there's some decent records there as well, and I'm sure we'll be doing more videos later, but thanks a lot. Bye now.